So we have our cameras and our audio. But it looks like we have one guest joining us here online. So thank you. I thought we'd start, just introduce the staff and then we'll get rolling. So Allie, would you like to introduce yourself?
I am Allie Speets, Chief of Administration, and I oversee customer service, HR, IT, GIS, communications, city clerk, and youth and family services. I've been with the city for 21 years and looking forward to talking with you tonight.
Miss Andrea.
Good evening. I am Andrea Larson. I am your city clerk. I have been with the city of Mercer Island for coming up on 14 years now through several different departments, and I'm excited to now support the council and the city manager in the role of the city clerk.
And Jason Kittner is joining us from virtual land.
Good evening, Jason Kittner, Chief of Operations, overseeing Public Works, Water, Sewer, Storm, Streets, Capital Engineering, Parks, Maintenance. Let's see what else. Thrift shop, something else. Anyway, sort of all things operations for the city. I've been with the city since 2005 and started as a Parks Maintenance team member back then when I had hair.
Thank you, Jason. And I'm Jessie Vaughn. I'm your city manager, and I do essentially what Jason and Allie tell me to do, and the council too. For anyone that just joined us, we are running a hybrid meeting, which is why we're sitting at the podium. We do a series of 3 meetings during an election year. This is the first meeting. It's really just to make sure you're familiar with the basics, really the basics of city government. That's our IT manager, Alfredo. I'm presuming he's just checking in on us and we're good to go. Anyway, this meeting is the basics, just to make sure you're familiar with state laws, where you can find more information about running for city council. There's a subsequent meeting that we have in January after candidates have filed. That's really when we start to talk, or June. What month is it? It's March. Oh my gosh. In June, we have a meeting after the filing where we will walk the candidates that have filed through kind of the City 101 presentation. And then after the election, we do an orientation with new council members. So tonight, this is actually a pretty brief presentation, but we will be happy to answer questions. We won't ask all of you to introduce yourself at this point. We're going to talk about resources. We'll talk a little bit about our form of government. We'll talk about the council commitment. Certainly your best resource for any of that is our current council members, former council members. We'll touch on roles and responsibilities, and then we will wrap up. All right, so thank you all for joining us. And I know we have some guests. We have at least one guest from another city watching the presentation, so welcome to you as well. All right, I think I'm handing this one over to Allie.
Okay, so there are a few, there's state law that governs our form of government. In Washington state, there are 2 forms of government. There is the council manager and the mayor council. And so the city of Mercer Island is a city manager form of government. Another city that has the council mayor form of government is like the city of Issaquah or the city of Redmond. They have strong mayor. So a mayor is elected to run the city. In this case, we elect 7 council members and they appoint a city manager. So Chapter 35A, 13 RCW, so the Revised Code of Washington, lays out the whole council manager plan. So it's really how business is conducted, who is in charge of what. And then in our city code, chapter 3.02 MICC, that talks about the role of the city manager, their duties and their responsibilities. Copies of those are included in your packets. They're also on the website, and we'll show you the link to that page later on. But it kind of the RCW will talk a little bit about how things are done in certain in our form of government, how the financial part of it, contracting, it kind of just gives you the guideline for how business is conducted. Council commitment. So there is compensation. It is not a lot. This is a volunteer role. Right now, council members receive $200 a month and the mayor receives $400 a month. The way that the mayor and deputy mayor are chosen is from among the city council members. So at the first meeting of the year, when we have of every odd year, we do elections for mayor and deputy mayor, and that the council members are the ones that vote on that, not the constituents. There's a really great manual from King County, and it's called the Candidate Manual, and it's about how to file for office. So if you are interested in this position, I'd highly recommend that you read through that. It will give you important dates like the filing date. It will also tell you what your commitment is to making sure that you are on the ballot, and then kind of all the steps that you need to know. Another place that we encourage you to go and look at is the Public Disclosure Commission. As a council member, you have to disclose your personal financial statement. So that is, public information. It'll be up on their website. I would encourage you, if you have any concerns about that part, if you want to keep your finances private, that might be a little bit difficult for you with this statement. So look into that just to understand exactly what information you have to disclose. So between the PDC and King County Candidate Manual, I think you will learn a lot about what it means to be an elected official in local government. Oh, it's still me. Okay. So also in your packet and on the website are additional resources for you to look through. The first one noted here are the City Council Rules of Procedure. These would be like a board's bylaws. This is how business is conducted while in a meeting or while preparing for a meeting. It's kind of the way, it's the rules governing how you are a council member and how a council acts. It is the city council's document, so they are able to make changes to it as they would like, as long as they're in line with state code. But it's a living document that we update at least once a year, and it has a lot of guidelines for how the agenda is set, what's on the agenda, boards and commission appointments. So it's a really good tool to look at for kind of the day-to-day when you're in a council meeting. King County Elections also has a I think, is this a pamphlet, Andrea? Oh no, they have a whole web page of a whole bunch of stuff about running for office, which includes the candidate filing manual. So I'd highly recommend you go there. It also talks about political signs, campaign signs, campaign contribution limits, some different things that will kind of give you ideas about what rules you need to follow. There is another document that we have on serving on the city council, and it is just kind of some basic information about what it means, what you have to be. You have to be a resident of Mercer Island for at least 1 year, and you have to be a registered voter in Mercer Island. So there's kind of just the basics and a timeline of what needs to happen if you're interested in serving on the council. We also included Chapter 2.02 MICC, which sets up a non-charter code city. So there are different kinds of cities like we talked about. There are charter cities, code cities, second cities, third cities, first cities. We are a code city, which means we fall under RCW. We follow the code of Washington State for setting up our city. So that's included there. There's also a great pamphlet from Association of Washington Cities, and it's called So You Want to Be an Elected Official. It's very general and broad, but it's a really good place to start just to kind of see what it means to be an elected official. Association of Washington Cities is an organization that almost every city belongs to in Washington State. Most of us, or a lot of us, get our insurance for employees through that, medical, dental, and health insurance. And then they also provide things for the city, such as assisting with L&I claims, drug and alcohol testing for DOT employees, wellness programs. So a range of things that we use them for. But they are also a wonderful outlet for elected officials. They hold a conference every year for elected officials. And then, of course, they are there down in the legislature lobbying on behalf of cities. There is another document for you to look at from Municipal Research and Services Center. It's called Getting into Office. And that document will kind of give you another look at what you need to do to become a council member. If you don't know what MRSC is, it's a really unique and wonderful resource. It is a group, it's a think tank basically, and that is paid for through, is it Liquor Control Board? State funds. But it's got the people that work there are former or municipal government employees. And so you got a question, you can go to them and get an answer. It's very neat. So they've got another brochure on how to do that. Lots of resources, lots of reading material. We encourage you to check it out.
All right, so next is me. This one, we just kind of wanted to give you guys an outline of what it looks like from tonight forward. So tonight kicks us off with our prospective candidate workshop. We'd highly encourage anybody who's considering running for city council to attend the city council mid-year planning session that is coming up on April 25th. That'll give you a look at as the city council's planning for their next year and their work plan. Very important is the filing window. You only can file to put your name on the ballot during that week. So if you are considering running, make sure you know when the filing window is. This year, it's May 15th through 19th. And also when the deadline to withdraw is, in case you have second thoughts, which is Monday, May 22nd at 4:30 p.m. Once everybody's got names on the ballot, we'll move into a council candidate orientation. And then we move through the elections and then getting to what Jesse was talking about earlier of moving into an orientation that we would do in December with newly elected council members. All of these great resources that we're presenting to you guys today are available at the website shown on the screen. So if you can go there, everything that we're showing you there is been linked, and that will let you guys dig more into the reading.
All right. We were just speaking a little about the form of government. I think it's probably one of the things that can be most confusing in city government because there are two types. This is a council manager form of government. So as your city manager, I am the only appointed official of the city. I am under contract that is approved by the city council. I am bound by per my contract, the International City County Management Association Code of Ethics. So if you want to learn more about that. Also, I am bound, as is the city council, by the city code of ethics. So it's just important. I function like a CEO. The city council sets the policy. I run the organization and handle the day-to-day work essentially. And happy to take a few questions on that because I understand that can be a little confusing. Roles and responsibilities. This is something that you can really dig into over the next couple months or month and a half as you're deciding whether or not to file. We typically meet twice a month. On occasion, we will call a special meeting if the workload or something warrants it. Council member workload, I think my advice is to either talk to current council members or previous council members to get a sense of the time. Certainly it's a couple meetings a month, but almost all of our council members, actually everyone, serves either in a liaison role to one of our boards and commissions or on other regional committees. We do have a sustainability committee, our own city council sustainability committee, and occasionally we also form ad hoc committees. So there's additional commitments on top of the 2 meetings a month. And I will also say this, it can be more or less. I will share right now, our mayor is actively engaged in the legislative session and he's putting in a lot of hours. And many of our council members are taking in and out of the state legislative session as well. So there's ebbs and flows. two people in the audience that can speak to the workload pretty well. I think we've already covered the city organization, and Ali explained that the council's elected. The council then elects a mayor and deputy mayor, and the body as a whole appoints a city manager. So that is actually our entire formal presentation. I always share this advice. The reason we do these presentations is we want everyone hearing the same thing. So we'll have another touch in June that we invite you to attend. But I will also mention we are available, especially if this might be your first time running and you have questions. Your point of contact is Andrea Larson, our city clerk. If there's something that she can't answer, she will run it up to Ali or myself. And once we get past the filing deadline, I'll be talking to the candidates more about how the rules around engagement with the staff during a campaign. We're very mindful that we cannot participate in your campaign. And if a candidate asks for information, it is always shared with everyone. So we'll talk more about that after we get past the filing deadline. But that is really the gist of our information. We have all of this on the website. This meeting, this little presentation was recorded. And certainly if you have any questions, we would be happy to take them. You can either shout them and I can repeat them, or
The podium
The podium
microphone
mic
is
is on if you'd like to pop up too.
and if not, we can go home and have dinner. All right. Well, thank you for joining us this evening, and we will move onward. All right. Have a good night.
Thanks, Jason.